Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the X-Force Global channel. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Today, we're back with another PEPE analysis, and I'm here to make sure to update the price action from our prior analysis and see how we can go forward with the new Elliott wave counts. As a quick disclaimer, again, I must cater to both the bulls and bears, but I hope my analysis shows a neutral approach to help build your own thesis on the bearish or bullish outcome. Nevertheless, I do share my probabilities and personal sentiment that is not deemed as financial advice. So without any further ado, let's get on to the analysis. Now, continuing from our prior expectation, I did mention that we were looking for a very handsome risk-reward to ratio move to the upside, not only from our last video analysis we did a few weeks ago, but I made sure to give the outlook through social media and our membership-only group, where I did talk about the continuation of this fifth wave or some kind of B wave move that we're looking for, some kind of new price extreme to see what the next outcome could be based on the correction that we may be working in right now. So as you can see, we're currently working in possibly, now that we have reached all-time high and the markets are still relatively quiet in terms of the excitement, even with the specific meme coin breaching the previous high, this could mean that we might be finally on track for some kind of pullback, both scenarios for bullish and bearish, and give us a little idea on the sentiment value for this coin that could also help us build a narrative via the Elliott wave theory. So how can we build that narrative? Well, like I said, we have two ideas, one as a completed impulse to the upside, or as we have here, some kind of running or expanded flat variation to say that we're still within some kind of wave 4 leg that is still being continued via the C wave that we're working on now before we go for another move to the upside. Now, both have its pros and cons, with the first pro to this idea is that we did hit this move to the downside as a three-way move for wave A, and then we had another possible three-way move up, ABC into a W, ABC into a wave X, and another ABC into wave Y, relatively equal in length. Now we're all looking for is some kind of C-wave pullback, either as a running variation that we have here, which will give the better look. However, this move is going to be quite rare if it does finish as some kind of running flat variation. We usually typically see within the crypto markets extreme wild distribution zones being created, which means that expanded flats are quite common from observation, that we might see this wave C extend past that wave A, and then we might go for that final fifth wave. Now, to the con to this is, if we do get that kind of expanded flat, in my opinion, wave C's, unless we do want to see a perfect ideal look, we want to be quite sharp and help that, shorter in time outlook to make sure that this wave 4 is not going to be extended quite in time, because we do have a pretty sizable comparison in size between waves 1 and 2. Waves 3 and 4 are going to be quite extended in time, but if we're going to be rational, we're always going to assume that the final impulse is going to be some kind of move as this, and that'll extend this time as a wave 4 corrective sideways pattern, with the B wave hitting that all-time high. Now, this B wave creating this new price extreme, the next con to this is that we didn't hit the 1236 or the 123% zone in between the 138% zone as well. It's valid anywhere between the 101 to the 138%, because we do see a lot of expanded flats and running flats complete when we do create one price extreme just barely above the previous high, and we complete it as a running or an expanded flat. We do see those quite often in the cryptocurrency markets, but we want to see peak validation around these levels here to help us continue that narrative as price goes down, to give us a little more leeway room in terms of how we can continue working on that idea. But since we did complete this move up as a possible B wave new price extreme, there is another alternative that I do like to see this as a possible final fifth wave being completed as some kind of diagonal, which I'll be going over in a moment. But again, nevertheless, the expectation is what we're looking for. The overall expectation was that we were looking for some kind of major move to the upside, and that's what we got, a very handsome 196% move off the lows. And if we're using that idea that we wanted to get back into some kind of pullback on this move up here, down here on that 618, it's still quite a large move in terms of a risk-reward ratio that we were looking for, because it did shoot up quite a bit. Even on that 618 level, it's 140%. And to me, that is quite a swing if you really think about it. With all the turbulence that we've been seeing in the markets these past few weeks, this turbulence was offset by this PEPE analysis, right? We wanted to see or choose the coins that have the best look. A lot of coins did have quite some great looks, but again, fundamentally is what kept alive kept the meme coin ecosystem alive, and PEPE was one of those few coins that showed that continuation and strength, and most recently meme stocks. So this may be why we also had that small continuation to the upside to help complete this narrative, right? So again, I do like this idea as a possible 3-4, but again, we want to ideally to be short in time, so that will have to be possibly as a rare running flat, which I don't like. Again, more commonly as an expanded flat, and if we do, then we're going to have to look at our pullback across all markets and look for a very sharp 5-way move to the downside to help give at least a relatively okay looking comparison of the size of this. Now, what would be the other alternative rather? The other alternative is that the impulse has completed with the 5th wave move up, and we had wave 4 ending here, either as a WXY or some kind of AB as a triangle, and then a C wave move to the downside to complete that wave 4. To me, this is more of the rational approach where we do look for a possible larger pullback. Again, we won't know exactly how the pullbacks will happen. Again, the first idea on this idea was going to be we're looking for a 5-wave move into a wave A, and this is what we're going to be looking for. Since both scenarios are looking for a pullback regardless, the risk-reward ratio is there that we may be looking for a possible short within these regions. So if we do get that short, you can still, accordingly take profits based on whether you want to work with the hybrid of that pullback scenario for that expanded beef pocket being complete as well. Maybe we'll go for one more high and this will get invalidated in itself. We don't know. But the expectation is a risk-reward to ratio management that we're looking for. We got a new price extreme, and we've already got some kind of sell-off volume happening here, going back into the previous territory of this wave 3 and 4. So that usually means that some kind of pullback is still expected, just based on the Elliott wave theory and just based on the fundamentals that I have mentioned. So again, this actionary wave is tradable. This actionary wave is tradable. All going to be dependent on how the Fibonacci retracements are going to be aligning respectively. So this wave A, B, C to the downside, this wave 2 is going to be a lot deeper than that C wave expectation. If we get that expanded C flat, we're still going to be looking for relatively similar levels for that wave 2 pullback. But again, we'll know anyways because the style or mode of correction is going to be really dependent on how that C wave is going to be playing out, whether it's going to be short and controlled, or are we going to be getting a pretty strong third wave within this impulse move down to the downside. And that'll give us a little more clear picture that this wave 3 is in play, and we might be going into a larger actionary wave of a wave 1A, and then we're going to go for another corrective move to the upside before we come back down for this C wave here. Usually the actionary waves are the best ones to trade, so this may be a good small opportunity for a possible short. Not financial advice, of course, but again, the idea of expectation is based on this, of both being some kind of stylized corrective move to the downside, either as a wave 4 of that expanded flat or a running flat, or if we want to be more rational, maybe that wave 5 has completed to the upside and we're looking for a larger 1-2 against this 1-2 that was possibly being made. We might have a similar type of stylized correction just like we had over here as this ABC, but a little bit more different because this is going to be a nested structure now of this possible 1-2 being created, and we're working for a larger extension. Either way, everything is going to be bullish down the road. I do believe that the ecosystem for meme coins is not done. I think we just need some kind of pullback and some kind of breather for quite a while, just like we had over here. It was quite quiet back here, but over here, it's high and very huge in excitement, but here we're looking for the same excitement to kind of die down, basically based on some kind of distribution zone being created. We can't go up forever. Maybe it could, but we can't go up forever, and that's the thing. That's why I like to be rational with my approaches. These small swing trades are enough for me to be saying that 197% move. If that's not enough, then what is enough? That's where greed comes in, and that's why the markets 99% more or less all fail as a trader, because they don't take the expectations. They don't take what the markets are giving them. That you have to be able to stomach those kinds of things. So for this idea, like I said, this wave 5 is completed. We're looking for some diagonal being completed. Wave 1 length requirement doesn't have to be in relation to any of the other waves. So wave 1 being relatively long compared to wave 3, it doesn't really matter as long as wave 5 is shorter than wave 3, but we do have wave 5 shorter than wave 3. This idea being completed is the only way I can fit it in, because we do have corrective overlaps. I couldn't find a 5-wave impulse move to the upside. Maybe we will get some kind of 5th wave impulse, maybe one more high, meaning that we're working an extension where we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then working for a 5th wave extension. But again, I'm not sure, because the internal structures we're already overlapping with the internal wave 4 with wave 1, and that already validates invalidates rather the internal structure for that because of that overlap. So I'd like to think that this is more of a corrective overlap and saying that this wave 5 is done, where maybe the market inefficiencies show that wave 5 is very slightly shorter than the wave 3 as we have here, and the wave 1 length requirement according to the new guidelines and rules that wave 1 doesn't have any relation to the other wavelengths, that this is deemed as a final fifth wave and valid. So this is how I'm currently seeing the markets, ladies and gentlemen, either as a very deep 1-2 pullback or some kind of running flat idea where wave C is going to be completing here. Although that's very rare, we like to see more of a stylized corrective move as some kind of expanded flat with an extreme price being here. But again, to the con to this scenario is that it didn't hit that 1,236, 1,382 zone. That is the most ideal zone for a peak validation for an expanded flat. But again, anywhere between the 101 to the 1,382 is deemed valid. But again, as we're being rational here, we don't know how this impulsive move is going to be playing out, whether it's going to be extremely quick or not. We just don't know yet. So that's how the scenario is going to be, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video. But again, please do feel free, if you would like more updates on PEPE and how to see these updates for altcoins, do not hesitate to reach out to me to join the X-Force Global Discord membership. There's a small fee. If you would like to join me, please do. You will get the daily updates, including Bitcoin, on a daily basis. And the link is in the description below. Please do not hesitate to contact me. And if you're not following me on social media already on X, or formerly known as Twitter, please do follow me at X-Force Global. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next analysis. Goodbye. Have a fantastic week.